Hey, hi. Today I actually had enough time to plan for a few minutes and invited some people to join me. I hope that this is a good time. And if not, the video will live on provided all things technological are working as I hope. I just came in from hanging the wash for the first time this year. And man, what a lovely sign of spring that is. Um, I love hanging the wash. I love taking the wash in after it's been sun dried. And boy, it really is feeling like spring around here today. I think this is probably going to be the last day of wool socks. For a long time, it may even be the last day of jeans for a while. It's getting warm. All right. So here's what's on my mind. Today, I've been thinking about serendipity, or the thing that we call being in the right place at the right time. And what's coming up for me is the question of how do you know when it's serendipity, or how do you know where do you get that sense come from that you were in the right place at the right time for something? And I notice this in things tiny and mundane and vast and impactful and everything in between. When things go well, I tend to congratulate myself for having been in the right place at the right time, for being open to serendipity. Like, say, as a mundane example, you're driving around, you're running late and you're driving to an appointment or a dinner reservation or a date, and you slide into a parking spot right in front of the place you're supposed to be, at the exact right time, in an area where generally you find parking spaces are hard to find. Or in a different context, this is what triggered, I think, my insight today. This year, when Michael Neal's Creating the Impossible course came around, something clicked for me and I gave it another look. A little background. Michael Neal is somebody who teaches the three principles of mind, consciousness, and thought. The understanding that the three principles provides. I've been devouring his books and his posts and his videos for a long time. But I think that I have been in the place of coming from a place of extreme frugality over the last couple of years. I have bypassed his paid offers. So it never clicked. I never clicked. I never investigated. I never looked into it. I hadn't been interested in going deeper. And while I'm still extremely frugal and spending very little money on paid transformational work these days, I buy and read books and keep them and use them in my work, in my own unfolding, but I haven't been spending a ton of money on one-to-one coaching or even group programs. Measured and frugal. So both of those things still were operating in me, and yet something resonated within me enough that I clicked through, and I ended up enrolling in the class, which ended today. Today was the last conversation, the last call for this phase of creating the impossible. It was wonderful and lovely. So the mundane example of finding a parking space when you needed it, or deciding to look at something that you've seen before, but all of a sudden it feels like worthy of further investigation and consideration, that maybe it's a match. It's easy to just say, oh, thank you, parking space goddess, for opening this space for me, or thank you, guiding force, for putting me in the path of this $20 bill that's laying on the ground. But I've driven past available parking places before without noticing them until it's too late, because I was busy in my head, busy in some kind of thought storm, or worried about something, or afraid about something. Similarly, when the class wrapped up today, similarly with the class that wrapped up today, sorry, while I've changed over time, you know, instead of getting into too much analysis here, because I think that my words get in my own way of expressing the insight, I'm going to try coming at it from a slightly different direction. It's what it feels to me, what I'm noticing today is that when I'm more quiet in my head, when I'm settled down and I'm feeling like I'm in flow rather than struggling against obstacles and challenges, I see more. I'm just more present to the parking space, the $20 bill. I'm more relaxed. When I noticed that curiosity arise in me about this class, I followed it. I clicked. I felt guided. You know, some of this awareness, this realization is coming to me from the wild and raucous relationship I seem to have now with my impulses and my creativity. I'm just more open, and I am less worried and less stressed and less invested in my ego, in my psychology's delight in making meaning out of the mundane. I don't mean by any way, shape, or form, I don't mean that I'm now wildly spending money on transformational courses. What I am saying is that when I'm not in a storm of worry and stress, which I think I know is almost always self-inflicted, I'm more open to possibility. When my level of consciousness is lifted a little bit from the basement of my dark thinking, of my dark, cloudy excess of thinking that everything sucks, then what I see changes. My focus opens, I see more detail, I see where things are in relation to each other. I see more possibility, and I take myself a whole lot less seriously, which makes it possible for me to try things with a lot less attachment to outcome. I find a world of difference when I'm feeling guided, feeling some trust in the process, whatever that may be, whatever the process may look like or feel like in any moment. I'm today feeling like I want to use the word freedom to describe the feeling, if I had to choose the best word to describe it. And lest you think I am now a transformed being with no more sucky shit going on, I will tell you my thinking still gets in the way. On the reg, it gets in the way of my clarity and my ease. From the place I feel like I'm in now, just at this moment, it's kind of wild to look at those moments where I start tripping and thinking. Entire movies get written in my head in the space of a heartbeat. One of the very first things I learned from my very first coach about 15 years ago was she really told me many ways and many times that nothing, no circumstance, no event has meaning in and of itself, that everything is inherently meaningless, which I kind of wrap my head around intellectually, but I'm starting to really feel it here. So this is what happened. This is really embarrassing, so I'll share it with you because I live to mortify myself and show myself just how human I am. I know it's not unique, and if you tell me that, that will make me feel even better. So I had a moment of being coached on the call this morning, on the last Creating the Impossible call. And it was a lovely interaction. It felt great. And in the course of the conversation, I was saying something about that thing that I had made an exception to my frugality to invest in the CTI course. And Michael Neal started to say, oh, yeah, something to say about that. I'm quoting him now. On a recent call, I did a drawing, and in the breath in between him saying the word drawing and reaching for the pad and pen to illustrate what he had drawn, my thinking immediately created a movie and painted an entirely different picture. That there was a drawing. He drew a name out of a hat. It was a gift. It was a scholarship, and it was for me. And he was about to announce to this call of 100 people that I had won something. None of that. I was off in some imagined movie that my mind came up with in the space of a in-breath, maybe not even that long. So I mentally shook myself, and he drew his drawing and he held it up to the camera, and we talked about that, and I got reconnected to it and had to own to myself that what he was talking about had absolutely nothing to do with the little movie that popped up in my head. So there you go. There you have it. I am cutting out early for the day. I'm going to have an early Shabbat and go get some fabulous body work, and then do whatever it is I like as much as possible Friday nights and Saturdays. I have a very gentle relationship with myself and my to-do list. I like to follow my nose, as my friend Ellen puts it, and turn my attention to whatever really calls me to turn my attention to. So tonight it might be a movie. It might not. There might be some other form of easy entertainment. But I'm looking forward to a quiet weekend. I've been traveling around a lot lately, and I'm not planning to do much of that at all. I wish for you, as my friend Paul puts it, instead of just to say have a great weekend, to be in a space where you can open up to some following your nose and letting yourself be drawn to whatever it is that your heart wants to explore and play with and have fun with. Okay, blessed be. Have a great weekend. Do something. Do whatever you want to do for some part of it and enjoy that. Okay, have fun. Bye.